Hey everybody, this is Nick, and we are coming to you from Bootstrap Farmer Incubator again, and this feasibility study and case study is going to revolve around microgreens. Now, we have supplemental podcasts in episode 35, 36, and 37 of Bootstrap Farmer Radio, as well as a host of downloads in the Bootstrap Farmer Incubator, which you can find at www.bootstrapfarmer.com/pages/incubator. Scroll on down to the microgreens, and not only this video, but all the supplements are there for download, free to use, just like we did with the propagation business. And anytime we do a case study in the Bootstrap Farmer Incubator, we're looking for the same things, the same 8 fundamentals. What's your opportunity, your business summary, your management structure, your market potential, your ideal client, your marketing strategy, your economics, and your capital requirements. And before we get started, the purpose of the Bootstrap Farmer Incubator is to give you a vast array of free resources. So as you have different ideas within the growing field, take a look at some of the stuff we've done, take a look at some of the studies we've done, and see if you can apply it to your own. Not only do we give you both real world examples and things that we've looked into ourselves, but we have given you this white label feasibility study and given you enough examples where you can plug and play and learn how to put your own information in to see if this is A, something you want to do, B, something that's profitable, and C, something that there's a market for in your area. Let's get right into it with the opportunity from microgreens. Is a great starting point because you can start on such a small level. You can start with the 10 by 10 tray. You can start with anything you have laying around the kitchen, like a pie pan or something like that. You can really start at the very basic level. That being said, there's such a low barrier to entry for this really specialty niche that has the potential to be such a high profitable product that it sometimes seems that there's a lot of people getting into microgreens. And I can tell you microgreens comes up a lot, but I don't see just a whole lot of people really having a lot of success with it, because just like anything else, they get really excited at the first. They may get analysis paralysis and just look into it so much that they move on to the next thing. It takes a special type of person to analyze the situation, see it through to the end, and then make an actual business out of it. So don't be intimidated by the number of people that are looking into microgreens as a potential sales channel. There's also a little bit of a learning curve. Some of these seeds are tricky to germinate. Some of them grow much faster, some of them grow much slower. So that learning curve also knocks out some of the people that may be trying to creep in on the market. That being said, there's such a variety and combination of available seeds that you can really grow an infinite amount of different products, and the multiple sales channels leave plenty of room to separate the hobbyist growers that may just be going to the farmer's market on a very, very small scale, all the way up to people that just grow microgreens and grow hundreds of trays a week as a commercial grower. They're excellent additions to the beginning and ending of a season whenever some crops are in rotation. They can add to the bottom line as part of a larger grow, and in most cases take up a pretty small footprint. Continuing with the opportunity for sales, we have direct to consumer via farmers markets, delivery subscriptions, add on to existing operations, and added value products like micro salads, garnish kits, and bath and body care product ingredients. On the wholesale level, you can look at restaurants, cocktail bars, food trucks, retail stores, affiliate sales to specialty stores, event coordinators, cafes, juice bars, and these can either be delivered live or, if you have the ability, cut for processing. One other unique thing to microgreens is the health and fitness industry. Going to gyms, going to yoga studios, going to nutritionists and health food stores. Nutritionists often have lines of products like skincare, specialty soaps, and I know quite a few that have food as supplements that they sell right there from their doctor's office. So this may be something you want to talk to a nutritionist about. They're also, and we're going to get into this in a minute, but they can be great local influencers to help spread your word. Now in the business summary, you have the ability to start very small scale and ease your way into it. You can work on the details and expand as you either get better or find new sales opportunities. You can trial these things out 1 or 2 trays at a time and then work your way up. You can go mid-range, you can go small, you can go large. The cost itself versus the return is pretty good as long as you have the adequate sales channels and time to really see these things through to the best available growth that you can pull out of these trays. Another good thing is each time you expand, it should be less capital and effort intensive as the one before it, because it takes you less time to build systems once you're in practice. And as you grow and start buying for the second, third, and fourth round, you're going to start accumulating supplies. So again, that one single pump that you use for one racking system, if you have it timed out right, that thing may be constantly watering all the time, but just different racks via a manifold or mechanical timers. When you start buying zip ties by the thousands instead of the hundreds, you're saving time, effort, and money and going to the store and running for these little packs. You'll already have glue and primer for your PVC. You'll be able to buy your fittings in bulk, both saving time and money. And as you start stacking these growing racks, you really don't need any more harvest area because you can only harvest so much at a time. And these racks on wheels can actually be stacked up like bookcases, pulled out, harvested, reseeded, slid back in, and it's a really efficient use of space. Your management structure, again, from the very beginning, this could truly be a one-person operation at a part-time level. You could work a regular job, water your microgreens in the morning, tend to them at night, with the exception of actually selling them, going to the farmer's market, taking them to the restaurant, and that the actual growing part of this is not very many of the day, and it can certainly be a stepping stone into a much larger grow while working another job, or even while working another segment of the farm. Simple and inexpensive automation like timers on pumps and lights can further reduce your labor costs and make things a lot easier for you. Your market potential, there's multiple reasons to buy microgreens. Some are just using it for a garnish, some are using it for their flavor profile and to make a very unique item for their restaurant or their food truck or something like that. And there's going to be times where the motivation for people to buy microgreens overlaps. So being in tune with the health benefits, the buy local, less food mile benefits, the garnish and specialty cuisine over multiple restaurant and service industries, the use of healthcare items like soaps and lotions and that kind of thing, and then the ability to co-collaborate and cross-market with people that are throwing events, caterers, event coordinators, and chefs that do events. The ability to come in and add to their program will get you a lot of notoriety, and it kind of works both ways, and it kind of works as a two-way street to promote yourself and them. So the health conscious, the locally motivated, the foodies, the home care product makers that need great ingredients, and then possibly some subscription clients for living herbs and salads. These are all, and these aren't the only ones for your ideal client, but knowing that you may have to speak at some length on all of these items will really help you get your message across. Now, your marketing strategy is listening to all the motivations of those ideal clients and knowing how they're going to use them, knowing what buttons to push, whether that's local or food or nutrition. These are very photogenic items, which all help with your marketing copy and material. You can make great recipe cards, which not only catch the eye, but educate the direct-to-consumer industry and all help your story brand. If we highlight nutrition, local, environmental benefits, taste, etc., these highly photogenic crops are great for social media. They're great to pass on to journalists and to catch their eye. They look great on video, and they help both your paid, your earned, and your passive media. So if you're paying for ads, use the very best pictures that you have. If you have earned media through a journalist, again, you can go back to that well of pictures and pick out the very best. They're looking for great pictures, and if you have them, or if they can send a photographer out and get their eye on it, that's great. And then your passive media, just putting up a post and getting traction that way, very grassroots, no money spent whatsoever. It is a thumb stopper. Now for your economics, this is where you're going to have to break out that white labeled feasibility study that we'll put a link up to, and then take a look at what we did. When we sat down and talked about this, a single metro rack, which is those chrome 18 inches deep, 4 foot wide, roughly 6 foot tall racks on wheels that you see all over the place during various times of the year, can get a great price. There is shallow water culture flood and drain trays that exactly fit within that. Each one of those holds 4 microgreen trays that have holes in the bottom. And if you flood and drain with some LED lights, we felt that that was a great starting point. You could probably save $100 or spend $100 more depending on what we did. But we just wanted to give an example, build one out, see what it looked like, give you the numbers, and then let you make it your own. So again, a single tray, if you did it by hand, is going to cost you $7 to grow out by the time you buy the tray, the growing material, the seeds, and the time to fertilize it. And with potential tray sales anywhere from $10 to $20, most of the time we're seeing $16 to $18 per tray. But depending on the quality, your efficiencies, how much it costs you to grow, your market, your sales channels and ability is going to play a big role in what you're going to sell these things for. The beauty of microgreens is the ability to start small with incremental additions as you find that both your growing techniques get better and your avenues for sales increase. Now, if you amortize the initial infrastructure and managing your seed stock, labor, and utilities, given the fact that you have potential for clever sales and networking for quick returns, even if you lose an entire crop, with the ability to decouple a system and kind of segment out systems where these 4 racks operate off one reservoir, these 4 racks operate off another reservoir. So even if you do get a fungus or something like that, hopefully you can contain those within the racks. Even if you have a complete disaster, the turnaround time on microgreens is so fast that you should be able to get back up and running fairly quickly. Your capital requirements can be as little as $20 just to start trialing out. Our rack system that we built is roughly just a little bit over $1,300. Again, you could probably save $100 or $200 by looking at some different options, or you may spend a little bit more by adding some more efficiencies on there. And this is just what we felt was going to be the best for our situation. And it really is a pay-as-you-go model, and you can always upgrade later. In our appendix, we give you a parts and price list for a 12-tray system on one rack, and then building examples and diagrams, and then some of the bids that we got out to price these things out. So in this picture, Brandon and his crew built this at their place, and there's the Metro rack with the 3 trays, shallow water trays, with the 1020 shallow microgreen trays set right in. You can see the LED lights above the black trays. The white PVC is the drain return line, and in the back and on the side, you can see that black pipe coming from the pump, piping up, going through drip emitters and flooding those trays. On the next slide, I kind of give some more detail. The power strip is labeled for all the lights. You can also put timers on those. Your pump can also have a timer on there. The zip ties hold up the lights, and then all of the racks and trays and everything is kind of labeled so you can roughly see how it was put together. One addition that I would do if I were building this would be to put a screen filter on. So the pump that we're using has a 3/4 inch outlet like a water hose, and if we're going to use a 1/2 inch line, supply line that's pressurized on the timer to flood the trays, you would screw that 3/4 compressor adapter onto the pump, put your 1/2 inch line on the compressed end, run that to the 3/4 compressor again, put a 3/4 closed riser on there, which lets you screw on that screen filter and then go on out to the supply line. And so whenever you have to drain your reservoir or clean your filter, you just unscrew that bottom part of the 3/4 screen filter, clean out the screen, and that'll save you from a lot of wear and tear and clogs on your emitters. Do that as often as you need to, depending on your water and what type of nutrients you're putting in there. Keep it clean, and that saves a lot of wear and tear on your system. And again, if we work from left to right, we're going from pump to the adapter to the screen, and then eventually the supply line. Now the plumbing details on the side view are the drains that were drilled into the shallow water trays. They drain back into the reservoir, and again, the black lines pump everything back up, do the drip emitters, flood the trays, and there you go. On the very right of this slide is the Uniseal, which is the only thing we have priced out from Amazon. And that Uniseal basically gives you a rubber gasket and a way to plug in the drain lines to the holes without making a big mess. Moving forward, the per unit cost parts list for one shelf unit that can grow 12 microgreen trays. I color coded these by where you're going to get this stuff. The green is from Bootstrap Farmer, which we're looking at the 2 foot by 4 foot rack trays, the 48-inch strip LED grow lights, the 1020 trays, the 10 pack shallow with holes, and then I've got a 10 pack and a 2 pack because in this example, one rack holds 12. If you're building 2 racks, you may want to look at just getting a 30 pack. Depending, again, you have to make this your own. And then this orange line is that Uniseal 5 pack from Amazon, $14.79 at the time we looked at this. Everything else is in blue. This is all can be bought at any big box store, hardware store. You can also get this on Amazon. One decision that we made, the pump that we got was actually from Amazon and around $50. This is a $94 pump. It's a little bit more robust. Plus, if there is a problem with this pump, I can unplug it, take it back to depot, exchange it, most likely at no cost with my receipt because I have an order in the system, and be back up and running with that same pump. Versus if I ordered it from Amazon, even waiting a day is going to be very detrimental to those crops. So you have to kind of weigh out the checks and balances. Yes, it's easier to order from Amazon, but if you place this order at one of the big box stores, and at the very bottom of this, I have the actual SKU numbers that we base these prices off of. You can copy and paste that entire thing, go to Home Depot and say, I need this, and you'll have everything that we have listed out. So the 27-gallon tote, which makes our reservoir, it was on sale. I would expect this to go up a little bit, but this was the price that it was today. The wire shelf unit, the pump, the adapter, the inline screen filter, 100 foot of 1/2-inch tubing, which again, there's going to be excess, which means your next one, you won't have that $10.35 cost because you already have enough to build probably 5 more different shelving units. A 3/4 riser to make the adapter between the pump and the filter. Compression elbows for your supply lines, the compression tee for your supply lines, and then 1/4-inch barb couplers, 50 pack, which reduce the pipe from a 1/2 inch down to 1/4 inch. That actually runs the drip emitters. And then to close off the lines that supply to the racks, we have 2 compressioned end caps at 1/2 inch. And then we have 2 25 packs of 2 gallon per hour button emitters, which exactly match the 1/4 inch barb coupling 50 pack. So you can put 50 emitters on this guy. And then we have our supply lines, the 1/4 inch supply lines that run off the drip emitters that plug into the 1/2 inch via the 1/4 inch barb couplers. We have the punch, which actually makes the hole in the 1/2 inch pipe that you can put those compression tees into. Again, that $10 expense is a one-time expense, so your next rack, you won't have to buy that. Now, on this power strip, you could easily spend half as much on the power strip. However, this particular power strip that I have that is referenced down in the Home Depot SKU later on is a longer power strip. It has 8 outlets that you can use both for your lights and your timers. Kind of spreads out the power outlets a little better up and down the rack, and I just think it's a lot more efficient, easier to use, a lot cleaner. And with cable ties, both tying up the supply lines and the power strip and all the cables and wires and everything else, it should make for a pretty clean installation. I have 2 timers on there, one for the pump, one for the lights, and then for the drain lines, we have 3/4 inch PVC tees, elbows, pipe, and then glue and primer. The glue and primer should get you through about 4 racks. You should have a little bit of PVC left over, and then you'll have some elbows left over after that 10-pack. So our total build is $1,367.19. That does not include the tax, whatever you'll have to pay local, because, hey, we're dealing with 50 plus states. And again, the color codes, whenever you can print this thing out, is the green is from Bootstrap, yellow is from Amazon, blue is from Lowe's and Home Depot. If you want to take the time and effort to save a little bit of money, you may do better on Amazon, but I just went with what I like doing the best. Additional supplies that is going to have to be determined based on your individual circumstances is growing media, seeds, if you want to add humidity domes or more trays to black out for germination, or if you're doing popcorn shoots that requires actually no light, your marketing costs, transportation, utilities, or your other cost. The above just gets you the rack. This section right here is your variable expense, which we covered in our other feasibility study, but you need to know how long it's going to take you to do this thing and how much labor you're going to have, and this is just a reminder that you have to make this your own. The notes are one-time cost and leftover parts bought in bulk, which would be pumps that could take care of at least 4, maybe 5 racks. Extra parts like elbows, your punch, make future units cheaper. Plus it saves you time on going back to the store. Just have a few extra parts laying around. If you're going to be building several racks at a time, or know you're going to build several racks later on, you might consider buying in bulk at a plumbing supply store. Again, back to the pump. That's one of your main expenses, but it can serve multiple racks on timers, but you're going to have to figure out your supply manifold or timers to supply the lines at different times so you're not taxing the pressure or the pump. Consider an aerator if you're not going to be recirculating your water 24/7. You don't want that water stagnating. You want a lot of water. You want a lot of air in the water, a lot of oxygen. Many studies have shown that the more oxygen in the water, the better overall for the plants it is. Plus, it just keeps everything a lot fresher. You can buy some of these parts cheaper, but this is our parts list for our racks. The ability to buy off shelf for easy exchanges like that pump at a big box store, to me, is worth spending that little bit of extra money. You may see fluctuations of plus or minus $100, maybe plus or minus $200, depending on your sources, depending on your design, depending on what you already have. This next slide was when I actually went to Home Depot. I wrote down everything. You see the quantities. The quantities on a couple of these are off a little bit, especially on line 7 and line 8. I should have gotten more of those T's. We added it up ourselves in our own feasibility study, but these SKU numbers were good for Home Depot as of today. I have a Lowe's here handy, but you could take this to Lowe's and go, hey, I need you to match this best you can. I can't do everything for you, but this is pretty close as we can get. The Uniseal, here's how that works, and here's how you would install that. A 5-pack, you'll have 2 extras. It's $14.79, free shipping on Amazon if you're doing Prime. And then the rack tray, that's 2 foot by 4 foot. The microgreen trays, the LED lights, all from Bootstrap Farmer. Your most expensive thing for this whole project is going to be the lights, but I feel that the LED savings, the heat reduction, and the longevity that you'll spend on the LEDs are well worth the cost. Again, we've got all this where you can download it, make it your own at www.bootstrapfarmer.com/pages/incubator. And if you want to hear a little bit more, especially from a very practical side, take a look at Bootstrap Farmer Radio, number 35, 36, 37. Episode 36 is Brandon Youst's conversation with Chris Thoreau from Vancouver Urban Micro, which has a fantastic resource page for microgreen growers. Take a look at Johnny's Selected Seeds for their microgreen selections and grow guides. There's a lot of great information out there. Pick and choose what's going to be best for you. And hope this helps. If you have any questions, just let us know and we'll be available.